Hello and welcome back to Live Tech Sarah production. Today we are talking about one of my absolute favorite exercises that I do with my clients and myself and anyone that I come in contact with that not just struggles with but experiences guilt and shame on any level. It's also something that you can work at individually and get better with over time. Like anything that we talk about on this podcast, self-awareness is the first step. And knowing what is there and what's not there and what's coming up for you, that's where to begin. The exercise that I love to do that is so therapeutic and so life-changing and so transformational is actually from a book by Russel Brand. And I'll show you the book now. This is Russel Brand's recovery book. Ignore my nails. Ignore my nails. They're still cute, but quarantine has not helped out. No color. Anyways, Russel Brand wrote this book after dealing with his own addictions. And his addictions were loads and loads of drugs, alcohol, women and sex addictions, and just about, he literally says, if there's something to be addicted to, I was addicted to it. So he's gone through the trials and tribulations of addiction, and he obviously talks about it in this book, but this book specifically is geared towards the 12-step program and his recreation of the 12 steps after going through it himself. And you know, at the beginning of the book, he's like, I love the 12-step program, it saved my life, but the wording of it, you know, the way that it applies to people, the way that people resonate, it's a little bit different than his style. So he has like an incredible outlook on this and perspective on he has an incredible perspective on how to accurately portray what the 12-step program is. And I just found so much interest in this book. For example, I'll read some of the beginning chapters. 1, are you a bit fucked? 2, could you not be fucked? 3, are you on your own by yourself going to unfuck yourself? 4, write down all of the things that are fucking you up or have ever fucked you up and don't lie or leave anything out. 5, honestly tell someone trustworthy about how fucked up you are. 6, well, that's revealed a lot of fucked up patterns. Do you want to stop it? Seriously. 7, are you willing to live in a new way that's not all about you and your previous fucked up stuff? You have to. So that's 7 out of the 12. I won't read them all. But basically, he has this insightful way of teaching people parts of the 12-step program in a more applicable way. And one of the chapters that stands out to me so much is chapter 4. Chapter 4 is the one where you write down everything that fucked you up. So chapter 4 is my favorite. It says, write down all the things that are fucking you up or have ever fucked you up and don't lie or leave anything out. And I love this, and this is something that I did myself when I read the book, and it impacted me so much, and then all of the people that I then gave this book to and gave this activity to, because sometimes we don't realize how much guilt and shame run our lives and what a toll it takes. Whether it's something you said to someone, whether it's something that you did to someone, whether it's the way you treated somebody, whether it's the way you handled a conversation or a situation, all of those things weigh on our shoulders. And even if you think it's something that you're far removed from, maybe it's something you've never had dialogue about. Maybe it's something that you've never confronted. Maybe it's something that you've never apologized for and it deserves an apology. And the reason that I do so much work with guilt and shame with not just my clients, but also myself in my own life and everyone that I meet, all of my friends, I encourage them to not just allow these things to come to the surface, but to really deal with them, to feel them, to recognize what they are and what they aren't, and what their impact is, how they're affecting their day-to-day lives, because these things are governing you whether you realize it or not. These things play such a big role in your life and your success and your overall happiness and fulfillment in whatever it is that you're doing. These things carry on from one relationship to another, one friendship to another, and if you don't break this pattern, if you don't break this cycle, then they will continue to affect you in the future. And it's when you can work on your guilt and your shame and look inward and figure out where it's come from, not just in your own life where you've caused it, but also where others have caused it upon you. When you can do that, it is freeing. It is an experience like no other in the sense that you do not have to carry the burden and the load of these feelings and these things that had happened in the past. So in the book, the way that he does it is he says, list everything out that's ever fucked you up, anything that you've done, anything that has gone wrong in your life, anything that you feel was done wrong to you as well. Anything that has anything to do with you being fucked up. Anything. That means at 5 years old, that means at 15 years old, that means in a 5-month relationship, that means legitimately anything. Anything that could have, would have, did in the slightest way fucked you up, you include that and you write that down. You write down the people that were involved, you write down how you felt about it, you write down what it caused in your life, you write down what it's prevented you from doing in your life, what it's prevented you from feeling, some of those types of things, and you share that with someone. You share that list with somebody you trust. And this is an important piece that I wanted to bring up because some people may not have that person that they trust. They may not have that truly authentic relationship, whether it's with a friend or it's a therapist or it's a coach or it's a mentor. It doesn't matter who it is, but if you don't believe you have that person, I have an alternative. But the way that Russell Brand explains it in this is you share that list with somebody and you read it out loud and you allow them to listen and say nothing, and that is it. You share. You unleash your darkest demons and you put them to rest. You no longer worry about them. You no longer fuss about them. You no longer hang on to the burden that they cause. You release them. You let them go. Now, if you don't have that person in your life and you're working towards those types of authentic, true relationships, if you don't have somebody that you trust in that way to say everything, like this is not, oh, within the last year, this is what I've done wrong. This is, when I was 5 years old, this happened to me that made me feel this. This fucked me up because of this. I did this when I was 9. This happened to me when I was 12. I partaked in this at 13. It's everything. Everything. You're supposed to list everything that has ever fucked you up, whether you did it or it was done to you by the world, the universe, the people in your life, your loved ones, strangers, whoever. And when you have this compiled list, he advises that you share it. And if you're nervous to share it, if you're scared, if you're worried about being judged, all of those feelings are going to come up naturally. If you have a supportive loved one, if you have a friend, if you have somebody that you work with, like a therapist or a coach, if you have a mentor, if you have somebody that you trust and you can confide in, then yes, share this list with them. But if you don't have that person, I would recommend not doing that. I would recommend you write the entire list and you read it out loud. You go somewhere, like, for example, for me, I love the beach. I find being near the ocean, being at the beach, freeing. So for me, if I'm gonna do this right now, I'm gonna write down everything that I wanna say. I'm gonna write down everything that's ever fucked me up, and I'm gonna go to the beach with that list. And I'm gonna stand on that cliff, I'm gonna stand in the ocean, I'm gonna stand on the beach, on a peninsula, wherever the fuck it is, right? And I am going to read that list in entirety. And I'm gonna read it out loud. And after I read that list, after you guys read that list, throw it away. Burn it, put it in a bottle and throw it in the ocean. I don't know if that's recyclable friendly, I don't know, but do something that is freeing of that list. Burn it in your fire, rip it up to shreds and recycle it. What else can you do with the list? I don't know. I think that might be it. But whatever you choose to do, you want to create the letter. You want it to be everything and more that you want to say. You want to read it, speak it into existence, acknowledge it for what it is. It's you as a whole. It's your entire life, everything that has happened. And then you want to release it. You want to let it go. You want it to no longer burden you. So whatever way that you feel comfortable doing that, that's how you should do it. That's how you should handle it. You release it any way that you want. I like burning things. I like releasing them in a way that is environmentally sound, but whatever. It's like whatever makes you happy. You can throw it in a gas station if you want. If that's like you taking out the trash, leaving with what you need to leave behind, then do that. Whatever works for you. But if you're listening to this podcast thus far, I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you to actually do this. There's a million things that you can listen to. There's a million things that you can watch, and you can sit there and think of all the reasons why it's a good idea to do it, but you don't actually do it. This is something that will actually change your life if you let it. If you do this, if you follow through and just make this commitment to write this list, it has the power to change your life. With that being said, if you watched it thus far, it is now a requirement. Do it. I promise you, it's worth it. And if you want to send me your list, by all means, we can set up a time where you can just read it to me. I can be that person that listens. I can be that person that can hold that space for you if you'd like. So just some tips from Russell Brand himself, because I figured this is the guy that has created it in this way, I should say. It's obviously a part of the 12-step program, but he created his own rendition of it. And I figured I'd give it a little bit of, I figured I'd give the book a little bit of credit and Russell Brand some credit, because this has changed my life so much. And this has affected so many people because I read this book. And he does an excellent job at breaking this all down. And if you guys haven't read this, I will put the link below, because it's an incredible read. And just to make it super clear, you don't need to be a severe addict to relate to this book. I know in podcasts I've talked about this, that every single person is addicted to something. You're addicted to an emotion, an emotional home, as we talk about when we talk about Tony Robbins, his work. Everyone's addicted to something. And you will resonate with this book, I promise you. So if this has been interesting thus far, go read the book, because the book will change your life. But I do want to just touch on a couple things that he chats about. In his example, I keep it pretty open. However you feel called to explore this and explain it, go for it. In your own words, in your own way, in your own kind of structure, I'm all for it. This is the advice that he gives. This is the structure that he gives in order to do this activity. 1, I resent blank. Now, I'll show the YouTube people what this looks like. It's like a little chart like this with, you can kind of see. It's like a little chart like this with 4 different sections. So, the first column is I resent blank. That means I resent myself, I resent my dad, I resent my mom, I resent my siblings, I resent this friend, I resent this teacher, I resent this ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, I resent this stranger, whatever the person is. Also know that this is I resent myself. There's gonna be a lot of things that you will list on here. I resent myself because blank, which brings me to column number 2, because. Why do you resent this person? Column 3, this affects my blank. Where is this affecting your life? What has this created in your life since the moment? Since the moment that this event happened, what has been created in your life because of it? And the last part is, what was my part in this? How did I play an active role in either the event itself or what took place after the event? Also, for the third column, this affects my blank, he has some areas of your life that this could affect. This could affect your pride, what I think you think about me. My self-esteem, what I think about myself. Personal relations, the script that I give others. Sexual relations, as above but pertaining to sex, the script I give others pertaining to sex. Ambition, what I want in my life, my overall vision of my perfect self and perfect life. Security, what I need to survive. Finances, money, and how it affects my feelings. So there's 7 areas: pride, self-esteem, personal relations, sexual relations, ambitions, security, and finances. And you just explain how this event has then created an effect on these areas. 1 or more. It can and most likely will affect a lot of these areas. I adore this exercise. I adore this activity. I think that it's so freeing, and it's something that everyone should do, because these are things that have happened in the past. They're not things that you want to bring on into your future, but by not working through them properly, this is then what happened. Something that can really help this activity is knowing how to articulate your emotions. So I have this poster that I use with my clients, I use with myself as well, about what you're truly feeling. So this is my little emotion wheel. This is what it looks like for people watching on YouTube. I'll get a little closer. Boom, boom, boom. So basically, what we have here is these are some of the positive emotions, right? We have happy, strong, calm. And then these are what they break down into, and then this is that next deeper layer. Same thing here. So scared, mad, sad. Sometimes when you're feeling scared, you're feeling anxious. Sometimes when you're feeling sad, you're not feeling depressed, but you're feeling lonely. Sometimes when you're feeling sad, you're feeling inferior. Sometimes when you're mad, you're being critical of yourself or others. Sometimes you're feeling hurt. Sometimes you're just feeling annoyed. You're doubtful. You're hopeless, helpless. And on the opposite, right? Sometimes when you're feeling strong, you're feeling successful. Sometimes you're feeling worthy. Sometimes you're just feeling confident or faithful in the future. Sometimes when you're feeling happy, you're feeling optimistic. Sometimes you're feeling playful. Sometimes you're just fascinated. These wheels have an interesting way of articulating some of the things that you're feeling. So when you're struggling, obviously with what we're talking about here, it may be more of the negative emotions. But like I always say, the self-awareness is the most important piece, but then articulating what that is, not just helps you explain it to others, but it helps you understand it yourself on a deep, deep understanding type level. And I use that wheel for a million things, but this activity specifically, it will be so helpful. This is how you can handle regret. This is how you can handle mistakes. This is how you can handle your past. This is how you can handle your past. This is how you can handle mistakes. This is how you can grow from the things that you've endured. It's so freeing once you do it. I'm really excited. Thank you so much for listening to this episode and watching if you're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, like this video, comment, subscribe. I would love to have you guys part of the team. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, thank you guys so much. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I can't wait to hear the feedback. This is one of my favorite activities and exercises to do for myself and for others. So I hope you enjoy, and I will talk to you in the next episode.